I'm getting attacked by one of the birds from Birdemic.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back. This is John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And Mike.
And it's What If Geeks. And it is now May 7th, Thursday. And so I don't know what day you're going to get this, probably sometime next week. But we are going to do our Geekly Weekly for the week. So, how's everybody doing with their quarantine? Is it over? I can't remember now.
Sort of.
Almost in Florida. I don't know about New Hampshire. What do you got?
Some stuff is open. Restaurants are allowed to be open at quarter of their allowed number.
Yeah,
Mike, you guys open?
No, I mean we have all like the pickup and the curbside and all that other stuff. But the governor said that starting next week they're going to start doing like the slow introduction and everything like that. Start letting a few things open back up normal and everything like that.
I saw in the news like the whole Northeast is supposed to get hit with a cold spell too.
Yeah, huge snowstorm coming.
Nice.
Because why not?
Yeah, well, it'll kill off those murder hornets.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Where are we at now? We're at coronavirus, murder hornets.
Part of the state of Florida's on fire.
Snowstorm fires.
Super snowstorm fires, murder hornets, and coronavirus. Oh my!
Is that it? I feel like there was more.
Kung Fu Gorilla? I don't know.
Oh, there was that monkey riding the motorcycle that tried to snatch somebody's kid. You guys see that one?
Oh my God!
No, I missed it.
No, I didn't see
that.
that.
Oh my God! Like legit, like I watched it like 6 times, like going, no, that can't be real. And sure enough, you just see the kid getting dragged down the street.
Well, I'll share it, but I'm gonna cut it into the video now since we.
Okay, yeah, you got it. Share
but
it.
Hold on, let me share it with you real quick.
Very strange video you're about to see here, a viral video. You're gonna have to watch it a couple of times, really. This is a monkey trying to drag the kid away. The monkey was part of a Indonesia.
You're coming with me, kid.
Holy shit!
Like, look how hard like the monkey was pulling the kid up the alley. Like, good Lord.
Extraction 2, Harambe's Revenge.
Listen, I thought that Hangover movie when the monkey was delivering drugs was good.
Holy shit!
That's awesome.
And did you see in the beginning? Did you see in the beginning of the video where all those guys were at the end of the alley, just seeing the monkey drive up? Like, yeah, it's okay.
They were waiting for the monkey. They sent the monkey down there. Like, no one's gonna expect this.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Yeah, that kid just gets up like.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. The kid.
Fucking monkeys.
The kid is like. Yeah.
The kid's just like, yeah, this is a Tuesday that happens every
exactly.
Tuesday.
Fucking monkeys on bikes, assholes.
So you can keep your murder hornets. We got kidnapping monkeys on bikes.
All right, Eric, you want to crank it out? Never mind.
Crank it out. No wait, but before we crank anything out, instead of Florida Man this week, are we going to do the coronavirus conspiracy theories?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Florida Man is on hold. All right, so we got my theory, which actually was funny because we'll get into it in a second. But the fact that the disease, the story is it came from a wet market in China, right? A bat fucked a pangolin or some shit like that. I don't know. So something got a hold of something else.
Very, very, very close.
Close. Fucked shit on it. R. Kelly did something, They were doing something in that wet market, and somebody got a hold of something else, and then they got coronavirus. Well, the conspiracy theory is that is actually not the case, and it was actually created in a lab. The reason that this conspiracy theory is so prevalent was because there just also happens to be a virology institute where researchers have been studying bat coronaviruses for a long time in the same town. So supposedly, like, they did some research after it came out, and they said that the new SARS-CoV-2, whatever they're calling it, over there, it doesn't match any of the viruses that were sampled and studied in the Wuhan Institute by this specific team, supposedly. So the theorist couldn't resist that, though, and kind of quickly went all over the place. There was an hour-long documentary produced by the Epoch Times.
A few days later, however, a report from the journal Science published online challenged that story.
And it quickly hit the mainstream media. So, well, I don't know. Me personally, I was like, I always joke around that I think that's actually the case because I don't believe anything the government that controls all their media actually tells me. So there's another one that I know none of us picked, but the one that where like it was either a bioweapon or it was like the U.S. military, right? But that was actually like my theory that I started shooting out there in the beginning when this whole thing blew up, was that it was created in that lab, but I kept joking around about how some of our government now is talking about, oh, it was made in a lab. And I kept telling everybody at work, I'm like, they might not want to try to turn those stones over too much because they might find out that we were involved in that shit too. And that's what I would think. So we worked together and made something bad.
The flip side of that, that it was created in a Wuhan lab that I guess is spreading through China, is that we did it.
Yeah.
And they're saying so the Chinese conspiracy theory is that we did it, and that it was spread by a U.S. member of the U.S. military who was bicycling his way through China to go to the military world games. And those games happened to be held in Wuhan last year. So they think we did it.
Well, anyone who can't breathe because of COVID is not bicycling anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I like that conspiracy theory though. I think we're both involved with it. But go ahead. What about you guys, Paul, Mike?
That's my favorite. The Chinese somehow did it to weaken us, even though it started there and crushed through them first.
Yeah.
Because they generally don't care about their people, so they would release it knowing it would get here and take out our economy.
There's nobody that's going to know the truth ever.
That's why conspiracy theories are so
prevalent,
sort of easy to spread, and because you're right, Mike. You can't know for sure. So,
and I love them.
Yeah,
they're awesome. How about you, Mike?
I chose blaming 5G. So
it's one of my personal favorites.
It's new. Shut it down.
Yeah. So basically, it says this conspiracy theory should be easy to debunk. It is biologically impossible for viruses to spread using the electromagnetic spectrum.
Bullshit. My phone gets a virus.
That's right.
Oh my God. Have mercy.
I looked at one of those sites Mike talked about last week, and my phone got a virus.
I got that COVID.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah,
it's a small virus, though. It's
that's a different one.
It's a small virus.
Just a little bit of cream that I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. But the best part about this is it says it's worth repeating, as the World Health Organization points out, that you got to be really specific about this, that viruses cannot travel on mobile networks, and that COVID-19 is spreading rapidly in many countries that do not have 5G networks. And so this conspiracy theory, after being spread by celebrities with big social media followings, this is the best part about it, has led to cell phone towers being set on fire in the UK and elsewhere. There's so many sheep in this world. It's ridiculous. Like, I feel bad for us. I really do.
Was that whole saying? Stupidity should be painful.
Well, no, because I read this and then I go, you know what? I don't blame God for just wiping out half the world. I understand it.
Move quicker.
Yeah. Like, natural selection wasn't doing its job, so got to go bigger.
All right, so that's your coronavirus update.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're calling that? The coronavirus?
Sure. You guys out there, pick your favorite conspiracy theory and bring it to our the comments below or to our website. And
the more extreme, the better. And if there's a movie on it, send us the link.
All right, so what are we into? Anything? Did we already cover that? I can't remember now.
No, we haven't.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
All right. Well, speaking of zombies, I'm still watching Daybreak on Netflix. That zombie show, it's a zombie show, but
I gave up on that show.
Yeah, I like it.
Is this the high school kids?
Yeah. It's kind of like they call them.
Know why John watches it.
Yeah, that's right. I get older, they stay the same age.
They stay the same age.
Oh my
Nice.
Yes, they do. That's the only imitation I got. I'm enjoying it. I'm like about 3 or 4 episodes in. I'm taking my time with it, but when I get a chance to sit around and watch it, I do. The Mandalorian, the making of the Mandalorian just dropped. I think like the first episode or the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, first episode on the 4th. Yeah.
Did you watch it already?
I have not.
Okay, because this one's like focused on like the directors, and it kind of goes through all the different directors and everything. So it's pretty good. You watch it. How about you, Mike? What are you into?
I haven't had a chance to start it
Careful, easy.
Yeah. Finger on the edit button.
yet. Yeah. I prepped myself and I just looked in the mirror
Only
and said, just
pre-recorded
stay on
show
track.
still needs a 7-second delay.
I haven't had a chance yet, but actually I was going to start tonight when this was all over. I want to check out the Michael. I want to.
That's not going away. It does.
I'm so ruined right now.
It doesn't even matter what he says now. Whatever it is, just bleep it out with a little thing.
Yeah. All I could just say is, I really want to watch.
Tell us how excited you are about it.
It's so awesome.
And the 3 of us just go like this.
Seriously though, Mike, go ahead. Sorry.
Again, Mike.
Sorry.
It's all good. No, I appreciate it. The Last Dance, the documentary with Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance,
watch
so
it.
I'm going to throw that on. I've heard from many people that it's really good, and I was a huge Bulls fan and a Jordan fan growing up, so I want to kind of check that out.
Paul, what are you into?
All right. So first we watched McMillions. Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Good one, man.
I started watching it. I haven't finished it.
It's crazy. So
I saw like a pop-up on it and everything like that. So
yeah, the McDonald's Monopoly game in the late 90s and early 2000s was completely rigged. And turns out that there was like a conspiracy of people. One guy was like stealing the tickets and he would hand them out to people and they'd pay him and it was nuts. And then they would turn them in like they won. And they didn't realize at the time that like half the winners were from North or South Carolina, but no one ever put it together. Anyway, so the FBI on a tip starts to look into it and the whole thing sort of goes from there. So it's a good show. We've got 1 episode left, the final one. And then I started reading. I've had this book for a while, but I didn't pick it up. But after talking about Star Wars so much last week for our May the 4th Be With You episode, there's a book called The World According to Star Wars by Cass Sunstein. And it's about the sort of just the cultural impact of Star Wars and the making of the movie, some inside stuff about it, just how big it is and all this stuff. And so what's really cool is he's got like first drafts, talking about first drafts of the movie. And so here's one of the things, and you guys will like this. At one of the earliest stages of the writing, Lucas produced a list of large number of names, some of which were discarded, including, so these are some of the characters that Lucas originally had in mind for Star Wars. Emperor Ford Xerxes III, Xenos, Monroe, Mace, Valorum, Biggs, Clegg, Han Solo, leader of the Hubble people, Thorpe, Roland, Lars, Kane, Anakin Skywalker, King of Berbers, Luke Skywalker, Prince of Berbers. There's an ice planet named Norton 3 and a jungle world called Yavin, complete with 8-foot-tall Wookiees, and a desert planet named Aquilay. So then later, and here's like his first sort of 2-page version sort of summarizing the movie. This is the story of Mace Windu, a revered Jedi Bendu of Afuchi, who is related to us by C.J. Thap, Padawan learner to the famed Jedi. C.J. stood for Chewie II Thorpe of Kissel, whose father, Han Dreidel Thorpe, chief pilot of the renowned galactic cruiser Tarnak. Mace Windy had been warlord of the chairman of the Alliance of Independent Systems. Some felt he was even more powerful than the imperial leader of the Galactic Empire. Ironically, it was his own commander's fear that led to his replacement and expulsion from the royal forces.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So like that's the whole thing. There was a General Skywalker and some other stuff, but you wonder, like, if he had gone with some of that, would we still be talking about it 40 something years later? Or is it like
I would like to think no, but if you really try to reduce the Star Wars story down to something like really simple, like explain movies badly, I feel like it's not much better than that, to be honest.
It sounded like some fan got high and wrote fan fiction.
Yeah.
It does, but you could look at the actual movie, and there's like a walking dog. A guy tries to make out with his sister. I mean, you could explain this really badly, so it sounded just as bad as what Paul said.
Some of the stuff that I didn't realize after they made Empire, like they weren't sure that Han Solo was going to be back for the third movie. They weren't sure that Mark Hamill was going to be back for the third movie. So some of the stuff that this author talks about, one of the reasons that they introduced the idea of Luke having a twin out there somewhere that they mentioned is because they were afraid he wasn't going to come back.
It was for like storyline continuity, so they could carry it on.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the reason they introduced Lando Calrissian and the reason he's sort of the same as Han, like roguish pilot.
Puts on his fucking clothes at the end of the movie.
Yeah. They actually didn't think Harrison Ford was going to come back.
That's funny because at that point, maybe Harrison Ford, you could argue, but I mean, his success was all due to Lucasfilm. So the rest of them were nobodies. Like, why would they even be worried about it?
Right.
Like, you could lock them into a 3-movie contract, no problem. It's kind of weird that they would obsess over that point and try to make a movie script you could write out of it if you needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Stuff I didn't know about. It was only released in 30-something theaters, 32 theaters. And it didn't even win the box office sweepstakes on its opening weekend. It lost out to Smokey and the Bandit. But Smokey and the Bandit was shown on 380 screens and less than 40 for Star Wars. Like and then no one expected it to do well, and now it's 40 years later.
Yeah. I mean, so that's part of the origin story of the Star Wars thing, right? He had a hard time getting studios to buy into the idea, to believe it was going to be worth anything.
Yeah,
they did very for marketing.
Yeah, he had many things that came before it that weren't Star Wars, but they were sort of fantasy-esque movies that just were mediocre, right? They didn't do that great. And so when he came in with this idea of a space opera, people were like, get the fuck out of here. You know, like, you're just writing another mediocre fantasy film. Like, shut up.
Like, I have a movie with space wizards, and they're like, no, you don't.
Yeah. You do, but it might be straight to video. It might be straight to VHS if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm into.
That's awesome. Did you say the ice planet was called Norton?
Norton 3, yeah.
Norton 3.
Norton.
Yeah, the honeymoon. Yeah, honeymoon is. Where you going? We're going to the Norton system. All right, Eric, what are you into?
I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I started a new game called The Good Company, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever played. I just signed up for it. It looked really interesting. I thought maybe I'll do a video on it, just to let people see what it's like. It's strange, but it's fun. All right, so we got all kinds of goodness in the news now. So there is a new Children of the Corn adaptation, whatever you like to call it, that is apparently secretly in production. So there was never a formal project announced, but The Hollywood Reporter did an article last week which was titled "Shooting During the Pandemic." So it was just covering different studios and how they were dealing with the pandemic and how they were continuing to do production, right, in the face of this when they have to do social distancing and places are closed and all that. And one of the profiles on there, which was really brief, it was like 2 paragraphs or something, was focusing on Lucas Foster and Kurt Wimmer, who are doing a movie in Australia. And apparently that movie is a reboot of Children of the Corn. And again, this was never announced, so it just randomly popped up in this article that had nothing to do with new movies per se, right? It was just talking about production, and it just happened to be in there. And then it was all like, wait, what the hell? Why are you doing another one? So if you don't know, Children of the Corn was the original 1984 movie. It was based on a Stephen King short, which a lot of good actually horror movies are based on Stephen King shorts. But this one, the first movie was good. The second movie was also fairly good from a like box office making money perspective. Not to mention the first one became a cult classic. But there were 8 more after that, which were all sequels to the original film or sequels to one of the ones that followed. But this one is going to be different. So this will be the 11th movie in the franchise, but it's going to be a complete reboot. They're going to start over. They're going to retell the original story with the husband and wife hitting the child on the street, wherever, and they take them to the small town, and there's all the kids there where that whole thing starts. So they're going to retell this. So I think that could be really cool. Mm-hmm. It's weird to me that it was kept a secret this long, and they're already filming. They're already in the middle of filming, and they never once said anything. And it may just be the case that, again, this is the 11th film, so maybe they just didn't bother. And if it's successful, it's successful. They'll promote it when they promote it, whatever,
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of surprised that they're, at this point, after 10 or 9 sequels, doing a reboot, and they just didn't say shit. Like nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Yeah.
Right?
But, I mean, it's something I'd look forward to. I mean, I know that, we debate back and forth whether or not you should remake this or that or whatever. Like Children of the Corn, I like them, the first couple. But I wasn't the biggest fan, so I'm all about rebooting this one. I mean, do we play a quick round of Casting Couch, or do we just wait and hold off on that for the next one?
I'm not even sure it matters for that movie. Like, we didn't have anybody really famous in that. All the sequels, at most, they've done like sort of cameos of people from the earlier one. Like,
yeah,
you don't
like
really
you get,
need
like,
it.
any of these kids from like the Netflix movies and shit, and just throw them in there. They'd be all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure you really need it, but they did bring a producer and a director in that have like name recognition. So they have Lucas Foster as the producer. He did the Ford v Ferrari film, was the most recent one, which was fairly successful. Yep. And then Kurt Wimmer, who did Equilibrium, which I personally like. I mean, it's definitely sci-fi oriented flick, not like a huge following, but I liked it. I mean, I think like it's funny to me that they hired these guys that are pseudo famous, and then they're doing like a secret production in Australia of all places.
Yeah,
it just seems really weird, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, keep an eye on it.
You watched the original Children of the Corn, Mike?
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. This has me on the fence, just in the idea of like if it goes to like the way Pet Sematary went and they remade it, and it was good. You know what I mean, like that. But you dropped the ball. Maybe that's why they're doing everything in hush
secret,
man. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't know.
They won't even put the producer and director's name on it until it's successful.
Yeah, I mean, like they'll do it. They'll show it to like a bunch of friends, and hopefully the friends aren't drunk and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a great movie," and then they put it out. You know what I mean? And then it's just nothing. But yeah, to John's point, I mean, I would like to see it happen, but it's got to be done right, man. I don't know. Some of these newer ones that are being remade, just it's a waste of time. You like to give them an opportunity, but no way. I don't know.
All right, so next one, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt are apparently in talks to star on screen together again. They did the last one on Jungle Cruise in a new adaptation of a comic book called Ball and Chain. If you guys didn't see this comic came out, it was like late 90s, 98, 99, something like that. It was by Homage Comics, who eventually got bought by DC maybe less than 10 years later. It wasn't that long. But this is like a rom-com superhero story. And it's really strange. So it's his husband and wife who are basically on the verge of getting divorced. And when the comic starts, they're basically at that point where they're like, fuck you, we're splitting, right? And then there's like this meteor that comes in and it sort of bathes them in extraterrestrial energies or whatever, and they gain superpowers. But the thing that makes this funny and why it's a rom-com is that their superpowers only work when they're like touching each other or they're in close proximity to each other. I think it could be really funny. It'll depend on how it's done, of course, but you know, the fact that they've got two big names that have had on-screen interaction before, I think it bodes really well for them. And people will probably never know that this came out of a comic. They'll probably just assume it's, you know, some clever, quirky, we're making this off a superhero movie that's been successful, you know, for the last 10 years, whatever. They're not going to know that it's actually a comic book, but I think it'd be really funny.
I think so.
This will go to streaming. It's not supposed to go to theaters. Netflix, I think, has the current highest bid right now, and they might end up being the host, but you know, there's nothing set in stone, so anything could happen. Hasn't even started filming.
I'm all for it.
Hey, did you see this story about Ryan Reynolds was on Fallon the other night, and he's talking about a movie he's in with Dwayne Johnson, and he's like, it's going straight to Netflix. It's called Red Notice, and it's got Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, and Gal Gadot.
What?
No,
yeah,
I'm watching.
And he said they are. Let's see. Red Notice follows The Rock's character, an Interpol agent and master tracker, as he hunts the world's greatest art thief, Gal Gadot, with the assistance of the world's most notorious con man, Ryan Reynolds.
I'm in.
So they asked him. So Jimmy Fallon's asking him about it, and like Jimmy Fallon's at home, and Ryan Reynolds is in his house, and they're doing the interview, and he's like, "Yeah, we're about halfway done shooting it." He's like, "We could have been done a long time ago, but we spend 90% of our time just cracking each other up." And he just goes into, like, apparently they've been friends for a long time, and he just goes into like, he just makes fun of The Rock to his face about his mannerisms and all the stuff he does, and The Rock just dies laughing when he does it. And yeah, it was hysterical.
That's awesome.
But it also sounds like it's coming straight to Netflix, so whenever it comes out, I think it's going to be good.
What's it called again?
Red Notice.
Red Notice.
I'm for it.
I'm for it. I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
You could take Ryan Reynolds, whether it be as Deadpool or just as himself, and just throw him like in snippets of movies just to like break on people's balls. Be the best thing ever.
Yeah, I think as long as he's busting people's balls or he's being sarcastic,
yeah,
great.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that is actually a heavy rumor now that that's what they're going to wind up doing with the MCU. I know we joked around about it, but the rumor now is that they're going to have Deadpool cameo where he can like quietly, you know, just like Stan Lee did, but it's going to be Deadpool in different areas because he can break the fourth wall. And then they'll still do some type of Stan Lee cameo, but they're not going to do any of that CGI, reusing footage, whatever. You probably see like a picture of him or something, you know. Or like maybe they'll drive by a comic book store and it's like Stan Lee's comics or some shit, you know, something like that. But so they'll still have Stan Lee in there, but the rumor is Deadpool is going to start making all the cameos now.
Deadpool with a Stan Lee shirt on.
The first one has to be that. All right, so what else we got? Tom Cruise, here he comes.
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise and Elon Musk are apparently working together with NASA to shoot an action movie in outer space. And this is no bullshit. I couldn't make this up. So NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine posted a tweet Tuesday, a couple days ago, and he said NASA's excited to work with Tom Cruise on a film aboard the space station. He's talking about the ISS. And he says, we need popular media to inspire a new generation of engineers and scientists to make NASA's ambitious plans a reality. Now, I'm sure he's talking about moon base and Mars and all that, but that's not really the point. That's not what the movie is. Elon Musk replied to that tweet, and he said it should be a lot of fun. Of course, the way this is going to work is that NASA doesn't send their own guys to space anymore, right? Currently, they're using Russia to do it. They do it on on crew vessels from Russia to put their guys up there. But very soon, SpaceX will be launching the Dragon crew capsules. And so Tom Cruise and apparently his crew of filmers, I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but they're going to launch up to the ISS, and then Cruise is going to do fucking stunts in outer space for this movie. Like, I don't even know what to go with it. Okay, it could be amazing. It could be the worst thing I've ever heard of, but
well, the older he gets, the more preposterous his stunts get, and he does them all by himself. So like I said, he did the Halo jump. Now he's going to space. The next one, he's just going to open up a fucking portal to hell.
So there's nothing really definitive on this. What they've said is that it's going to be an action film. Okay, that makes sense. Tom Cruise has to do his own stunts. Okay, get it. And then they've also said it's going to be a narrative feature film, which means that there's going to be a voiceover and somebody telling a story, right? That's what that means to me anyway. Yep. So I'm not sure how the two of those mesh together. You don't see many action movies where there's somebody telling a story over the top of it, but
it's Morgan Freeman.
No, it's Samuel L. Jackson going, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Jumping around.
Look at this dumb motherfucker.
Did you just ride a fucking Dragon capsule to outer space, motherfucker?
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm sick of these motherfucking Tom Cruises and these motherfucking space shuttles.
Here's hoping his ship detaches, he gets lost in space, and then they got to do like a Armageddon reboot and go save him.
To your point, John, Tom Cruise is he's 57 now. With normal movie filming timelines, he's going to be 58 or 59 before the shit happens. With the fact that you got to wait till you can launch into outer space on a SpaceX Dragon capsule, he's probably going to be 65 by the time this shit happens. So
cool.
Cool story, bro. Cool story, bro. All right. Well, I got a better story then if you don't like that one.
This one's much better.
So we've talked about the Tiger King docu-series. Is that what you call it? Is that a documentary? Is it a reality show? It's
a docu shit show.
Is it the apocalypse? We don't know, but there's that. Apparently CBS has optioned rights from a news article, more or less, but somebody wrote 8 articles about Tiger King, about Joe specifically, and how he went from, sort of owning his own zoo. I think I'm calling it that generously, but owning his own zoo into fighting against Carol Baskin about keeping it open, and sort of how he created this character that he put out in the public to try to help himself, you know what I mean, to try to bring up the park and get people on his side. So the whole thing is going to be about that. It's going to be about that transformation between being a guy that just likes tigers to being Joe Exotic, right?
Right.
But somehow they have convinced Nicolas Cage to play Joe Exotic in this series.
Hang on. You say somehow. Like there wasn't any doubt he was going to say yes.
Listen to me.
Fucking Cage.
No, I almost hear you, but this will be the first TV series he's ever done in his whole life. Like, first one, anytime. And we can make fun of him all we want, but he has been in, I don't even know, 24 critically acclaimed films at this point. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how, but that's what's happened.
Because he's broke.
And now he's doing a TV series. So I am a little surprised at that. I feel like he has agents, and they're going to say, no, this is Nic Cage. He's been in 24 movies that made over, $500 million. Get the fuck out of here. But that's not what happened. So he's going to be Joe Exotic.
Here's the thing, though. Having watched Tiger King, that story is so crazy. You couldn't write anything for an actor to do that's crazier than what Joe Exotic did.
Probably.
Yeah.
So why do I want to see someone pretending to be the real crazy guy? Like, this doesn't sound that interesting to me. Having watched Tiger King, that's way better.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that front. So, Tiger King was a shocker for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kind of shocker. Like you didn't know it was coming.
It was this kind of shocker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to imagine.
It was full prolapse. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine how a script writed. Is that right? Script written? What the fuck is the past tense for that? Show could be on par with the reality, which is so funny because it's the reality.
Yeah. Plus, you realize, like, to Paul's point, we literally just watched the documentary about it wasn't even like we watched like one episode of the show they made. We watched the documentary about it. So what are you going to do now? I mean, I'm still all for it. Because
I mean, this is based on what they said, they're going to tell the story from him going from Joe Wazalewski or whatever the fuck his name was into the Joe Exotic character, right? It's going to be that arc of how did you get from one side to the other and why? That's what they're going to do.
A bag of meth.
Yeah.
a bag of meth, a
And
fucking
dick.
python,
And a dick.
dick,
And a dick.
and two bike locks on a dick. Yeah, because but Joe Exotic wasn't a character. Joe Exotic was the real fucking guy.
You might be right. You might be right.
What? Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the damn documentary on Netflix, but when the chick's arm gets bitten off, he actually runs into the trailer and puts on an EMS coat and then runs back outside. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, you got to feel bad for the workers out there bleeding out with their arm ripped off. Look up and see this fucking idiot in an EMS coat.
Yeah.
Taking charge.
Who says, I will never recover financially from this?
Yeah.
That's like his big concern.
All right, what the fuck? Why not? I'm all in.
Yeah, it can't. I'm not sure I'm all in, but it can't be that terrible. It's worth at least watching the first episode, right?
Why not? What else we got?
Yeah, what else we got?
Get away from this shit show. This is going down in a dumpster.
Disney Plus is getting a new series titled Fury Fightals, and that's going to air actually on the 15th, so only like a week and a day from when we're recording this, maybe a few days after you hear it. So the studio synopsis says you shouldn't be surprised that Nick Fury has files on every single Marvel superhero. Fury Files gives viewers top secret access to S.H.I.E.L.D. intel on key Marvel heroes and villains, and all of this is told by none other than the mysterious Fury, bringing together a mix of animation and motion comic art. So this is going to be something of an anthology series, I guess, where each episode will tell a different story about a different character from the Avengers, it seems like, although they didn't say that. It's called Fury Files, but
Right.
The people they mentioned will be in this is Iron Man is going to have a story, Spider-Man's going to have a story, Thor, Captain America. Sounds like the Avengers.
Yeah, they'll start there and work their way up.
Well, they did say they were going to use this as a way to expand the storylines, so you don't have to make another movie to tell Captain America's, sort of midterm story. You could do it through comics, so or animated series.
This is a midterm story.
Well, you know what I mean. So they got Chai McBride to do Fury. He's done Fury in most of the not most, but a lot of the recent animated stuff. Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble, Hulk Agents of Smash, a couple others. So, and then this is going to be a mix-up, though. They're going to do motion comic art. So that's sort of like the Frank, what the fuck's the guy's name? I forgot his name. Holy shit. But where you do like comic style, but it's real life looking, and it's sort of, chopped together so it's motion animated.
Yeah.
Like moving comic frames, right?
Yeah.
They're going to do a mix of that. And then they're also going to do like the standard animated stuff that they've done in, say, Earth's Mightiest Heroes and the X-Men animated series. So it'll be a mashup of that while they're telling the stories. And I'm not sure how that's going to work. Stylistically, I love the idea of moving comics. I think that's really fucking cool. They should do a lot more of that. They did that. They experimented with that in the Spider-Verse, right? At the beginning of that. It's a really cool concept, and I think they could do a lot with it. And if they're going to throw in the old animated stuff they've done 5 years ago, I'm not so sure how that's going to mesh together. But
it'd be cool. I look forward to it. That's in about a week.
I like the idea. Yeah, that's in just over a week from now. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be one. It's the same thing as Disney Plus has done with everything else. I mean, one episode at a time. So you're gonna get one in 8 days from now. You get another one 7 days after that. Another one 7 days after that. So I think they said they have eight episodes done for that, and then there might be a season 2. Who knows? But so that'll be a little story expansion on the Marvel side.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
And then last but not least for the news this week, New Mutants might go straight to video on demand. We've talked about this a couple times now. Every other MCU movie got a new date to be released in the theaters except that one. And the date it was supposed to be released has long passed at this point. I think it was the 25th. It was 25th, yeah.
It was 2 years ago.
Well, the original, yeah, it was 2 years ago. So what happened recently is that it showed up on Amazon Video on Demand as a pre-order option, and it was there for a couple days like that, and then it disappeared. And then, of course, people noticed that, and then the press went back and said, "Hey, what's going on? Why do you?" And Amazon's response was just a very formal, "We don't have rights to sell the movie at this time." At this time, I think is probably critical. Yeah. So I think it sounds like, I'm just guessing, I'm speculating, please don't take this as anything real, but it sounds like Amazon was probably really close to closing a deal to get that as video on demand. Maybe they got exclusive access to it or something for the first couple of weeks, and they jumped the gun on placing the pre-order option on there.
Some intern got fired.
Yeah.
You hit the wrong button, fucker.
That's my guess.
Did you guys see? I don't know. Did I share it with you? Yeah, I think I did. The little YouTube snippet about how a bunch of screenshots of the movie, like not in the trailer, got leaked out, and before we were like, we just want to see it, whatever. But with the screenshots that got leaked, and we can probably cut some of it in there. I want to see this now. Like, it looks better and better. You've got like a shot of like Magic Ilyana opening a portal to what looks like Limbo, and then there's a shot that at first you would think it was like an artist rendering, but when you look really close, it's a shot of the Demon Bear. So it's all about like the Demon Bear storyline from the comics, but the Demon Bear, and it looks amazing. But then it's Ilyana in front of the thing, getting ready to fight it. But it's actually a shot from the movie. It's not an artist rendering, because you can see like it was a shot, and you can see like her moving, like her hair kind of is like blurred, like a natural motion blur of her moving. So it's not a drawing. It's an actual shot from the movie. So it looks really cool. So I'm kind of more hyped for this movie now. All right, so trailers, Eric, trailers.
Trailers. All right. So first one is it's an easy one. We don't have much to go off of, but Capone. So this is going to go straight to video on demand on May 12th. It would have had a theatrical release, but everything that's going on, it couldn't happen. But it's based on the true life events of Al Capone after he completed his 10 or 11-year prison sentence. I don't remember what the hell it was. And at that point, he had syphilis, so he had that sort of early onset dementia, like craziness from syphilis, right? So this movie is going to follow him then, like going mad. And based on the trailer, it looks like he probably hid some money somewhere, but he doesn't remember where it is. He's shooting his gun at fucking random on his property. He's sitting on the porch looking like a madman smoking a cigar.
And the best part is, where is he?
Florida.
Florida, yeah, exactly, in Florida. So I actually think this is interesting, and for anybody that hasn't been following, Josh Trank, who did Fantastic Four and was supposed to do the Star Wars Boba Fett movie, is the director of this thing. And then Tom Hardy, who was, of course, in Venom, is going to play Capone in this. So for those two reasons, I'm sort of excited for this. And I like gangster movies, but...
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same exact thing. I'm big into the mafia movies, so I'm real into this one. Should be good.
Yeah, I'm all into this. I used to, when I'd hear Josh Trank's name shortly after Fantastic Four came out, or Fanforstic, whatever the fuck we called it, I used to I was a little gun shy. But after hearing the stories of how bad the studio fucked him, I don't hold anything against him anymore. I'm just like, he might have had a decent movie going, but they abused the hell out of that guy.
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, he did Fantastic Four, of course. Nobody's going to deny that. But it's not like that's the only thing he ever did in his whole life, right?
Well, right.
He had success prior to Fantastic Four, and that sort of almost ruined his career. It didn't ruin it, but that sort of leveled his career where he wasn't going to go up from that point. I mean, because
it speaks to my point where, like, when I hear his name, I think of that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to actually look at the story behind it too. The studio had a lot to do with that movie and how fucked up it was. So he even finally came out like that was not the movie I made. So
it is what it is. But I think this looks really good. I think the trailer looks good. I think the story is a unique concept on a gangster film because, I mean, he's going to be basically going fucking nuts. And we're going to follow that, not necessarily the normal Hell's Kitchen gangster story thing you often see, right? It's going to be different. So
and that story's been done a bunch of different times, a bunch of different ways. So I don't know that there's a new take on that. This is at least a new take.
Right. Yeah, it'd be cool. And so speaking of going nuts.
Speaking of going nuts, indeed. Yeah. So somehow, some way, there was a movie made several years ago that I never heard of and I never watched, never heard a lick about. They put up an Indiegogo to fund a sequel to that film that I never heard of. It needed about $13,000. I think they made.
Missed it.
Yeah. I think they made 14. Yeah, I think they made $1,400 on the Indiegogo last I looked. But anyway, somehow, some way, somebody decided to pick this up. Some studio decided to pay for it. I don't know. But Killer Raccoons 2: Dark Christmas in the Dark. Now, I have many things to say about this, but before we ever get into the trailer, there are 3 exclamation points in the fucking movie title. Like, who allows this? It's Killer Raccoons, exclamation point, 2, exclamation point.
Right. So in other words, we read that wrong. It's Killer Raccoons 2. Christmas in the Dark.
Exactly.
Don't forget
Christmas.
Dark Christmas.
So the premise of this is that on Christmas Eve, there are people riding a train in the evening to Washington, and an angry gang of domestic terrorist raccoons. No, I'm not fucking with you. Highly intelligent domestic terrorist raccoons that control a satellite in outer space or something have decided to hijack this train.
It's like somebody saw Train to Busan and said, I can do better.
Yeah, and you could listen to my description of that and say, man, that sounds terrible, but watch the fucking trailer because I don't even do it justice.
It's worse than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, please, what did you have to say about this? I know you've been holding back.
All right, so first off,
Just watch this.
If this thing makes $5 at all, I swear to God, I'm going outside. I'm gonna hit myself over the head with a bat. Like, literally, I don't understand how this could even be a movie. What's that? Oh, I got it. You know, this looks like if you took Polar Express and jammed it with Tiger King, and somehow that made a movie. But it was aborted, but still made it through.
It was aborted. This is the aborted fetus of Tiger King and Polar Express.
Maybe a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy because there's like
because you got a whole
super cheap rocket analog in here or something. It's like if the Muppets tried to do Rocket with $1. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
This is gonna make Pandemic. This is gonna make Birdemic look like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
exactly.
Says, I have a feeling John is going to volunteer us to watch this for a movie review.
Yeah.
You're damn right. And remember, Killer Raccoons 2.
Yeah.
So I feel a double feature coming on.
We should have to watch Killer Raccoons 1 because I don't want to be lost. I don't want to be like,
I don't want to be lost.
How did we get here?
Because I was completely lost when they were talking about, that amazing guy that came to fight them again.
The virgin from the camp. He's the virgin from the camp. So he's in the first one. So we have to watch that.
Look, this might be the second part of a trilogy. We can't just start in the middle. You can't start an empire. You can't start an empire that the Empire Strikes Back and be like, oh no, I totally get what this is about.
Listen, guys, I have a limited number of years left on Earth, and I'm not putting them towards a trilogy. I might watch this middle one, but trilogy, it's not going to happen.
Listen, if you're saying that this is going to be a trilogy, that's the last time there was something that bad that was 3. It was the Kardashian sisters, all right? So let's just good Lord, man. I mean, but I'm in. If you guys want me to join, I'll gladly watch it. I'll hate my brother. I mean, it doesn't matter. I still do.
Oh, Paul and I hate him all the time for
I
this
know.
shit, so.
Every time we do one, Eric says throughout the review, this is when I remembered I hate you. It's my favorite thing to do. Oh, yeah, this is coming. We still never did Birdemic 2.
And we're going to have to buy it on video on demand. We're not going to be able to watch it on YouTube. We're going to have to pay for this shit.
Adding insult to injury.
Thanks, John. Thanks. Are
No
you
problem.
funding this?
So, wait. Then we get a small snippet of a YouTube video of my brother hitting himself in the head with a bat. Because between all 4 of us, it's going to make more than $5.
For real. I mean,
oh shit!
you know, like when you're like sitting around and you're hanging out with your friends, like you guys used to do in your garage, and you're recording this episode, and before you get on, you guys are
Wait a
having
minute.
a
What
couple.
are you trying to say?
Oh no! Give me a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of the podcast. No, but you're sitting around and you're like, oh yeah, you know, that'd be hysterical like that. But then you're like, you have that one sober friend that goes, "Are you guys serious?" Like, no, you don't want to mention that on the air. Like what I said last week. Going on. I didn't have a sober friend to talk to me. But like, you have to have somebody going, no. And there was not one person in the room with them going, nah, you shouldn't release that.
Yeah, this is our general problem with the when we're going to review a bad movie. John's drunk. He said, "Hey, we should watch this." I'm drunk. I say, "No, we shouldn't." But fine. And then Paul is sober and he doesn't say shit. This is the problem.
There it is.
Secretly, Paul enjoys this shit. The worse movie I find, the better.
Wow, this is
Like when because we did The Room and The Disaster
Yeah,
Artist. That was
I
fun.
heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was good.
That was
When I found Birdemic, I said, "Oh, have I got one for you guys?" And I showed them the trailer.
Oof.
Paul immediately, 2 seconds into the trailer, said, "Oh, we're doing this." And Eric immediately said, "No, no."
That was definitely it was the worst movie I ever saw. It was worse than The Room, I think. It was like they didn't even try. I'm not even sure what the CGI. I could have done this with our primitive video editing software we use for the podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, you want some birds that float right here? I could do that. No problem.
Yeah.
How much are you gonna pay me?
For listeners, go back to our audio only.
I'm getting attacked by one of the birds from Birdemic.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this one might be worse than Birdemic, and I haven't
No,
even
I
seen
think it
that
will
one.
be. And it even
Oh my
has
God.
better special effects, but it's gonna be worse.
Oh God! All right.
My Christ.
I can't wait. All right. When is this coming out? Do we know?
No, it's the last thing. No. I don't know when it's coming out. They said sometime around Christmas. So maybe because their Indiegogo only has 10% funded, they're not sure when it's coming. I'm not sure, but there's a trailer, and it was picked up by like companies that cover trailers, and I just couldn't believe it. That's what we have. It's because of coronavirus that even ended up on there, but it's there. And
How did you even find it though? Because that looks like something I would find.
no, because I usually look at like Joe Blow movies and movie clips. I watch the trailers they release every week because they sort of aggregate, all the trailers they see.
Right.
And so I watch those, and usually it's theatrical films, and you don't see anything else on there. But as this COVID thing has happened, it's become more and more streaming movies. And then today I watched the one from I think it was from Joe Blow, and this was on there, and I was like, wait, what? Like, are they really covering this? And then I had to go find out if it was even real. I felt like this is a fake joke or something because it was like the last one in the run. It was like the 13th movie in the chain, you know? I'm like, no, these guys are just fucking around. And it's real. It's real. There's a real studio behind it. I don't know. I don't understand, but
Nice.
here we are. And in Christmas, I guess, we'll be watching it.
What a fucking high note to end on. All right. Well, yeah. All right. So that's it for this week. You guys let us know what you think. Go watch the trailer for Killer Raccoons 2. Please.
And then go donate some money to their Indiegogo so we can make sure it actually happens by Christmas.
Yes. Yeah.
just $1, it will like double their budget. Just go put it in there.
If all 10 of our viewers help this get made, I see a T-shirt coming on. We'll at least get some type of credit, right? You know, brought to you by What If Geeks. Jesus.
And then there go your sponsors, really.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. They'd ask us to cameo. All right, well, you guys check it out. Look over everything we've talked about. Comment down below what you guys think. Like, subscribe, hit a bell, and all that happy shit. Look us up, whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm going to try to build a Reddit page, too, so that should be fun. I know, right? It shouldn't be too hard. same as we did, like, the Instagram, just a bloop, and it'll be there. But, yeah, so look us up. Let us know you're out there. Comment and give us some stuff to talk about on the weekly. That's it. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Mace Windy.
Good night, Nicolas Cage.
Good night, Carol fucking Baskin.
Carol fucking Baskin.
Carol fucking Baskin.